Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers Escape Issue 1. We take an early look inside the pages of the new Transformers Beast Wars comic, and we check out the new Iacon Online, a not-for-profit Transformers convention that aims to host panels with official Transformers contributors and artists, as well as highlight those within the Transformers community. Today is Friday, January 15th, 2021, and this is episode 216 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that's building our own ARC space program to escape Earth in 2021. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hello. Let's talk Transformers.
All right.
I don't know. I'm trying to spice things up here.
A little flavor. As always, we start off by thanking our donatrons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal, and you guys help keep the show going. We have a new donatron this week, Greg. Thank you, Greg, for signing up for a yearly donation. That's really that shows your faith in us for a whole year. Enjoy those perks. Hope if you're listening to Empire of Rust, you've got all the uncut Empire of Rust episodes to listen to. And look forward to being entered into our monthly Toy Hacks contests. Also, big thanks to Dinobot Maximize, a longtime donatron who recently upgraded to Masterpiece level. So he is now a Masterpiece donatron. Thank you, Dinobot, for your continued support. We really appreciate it. And if you would like to become a donatron, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And there you can sign up either on Patreon or PayPal. Another way to help out the show is by buying some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We've also got our friend K-Girl store at teepublic.com/user/superstark. Got lots of cool shirt designs. And if you buy anything from TeePublic through our link, that helps out the show. This week, there's a sale going on. So TeePublic has everything on their site on sale, 35% off from January 13th through 16th. So when the show goes up on the 15th, you're right in the middle, so you can still take advantage of that discount. So t-shirts are $13 and everything else is 35% off. It's a good deal. So that helps out the show if you buy everything through our link, transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And next Monday, we've got the next episode of Empire of Rust, episode 41. This is the Transformers Live Play RPG podcast run by our show editor and producer, Mike Ordway, and his crew. So you can check out the next episode. What we have here is a failure to separate. And this is coming Monday, January 18th. So check that out, transmissionspodcast.com/rust. And if you've been listening, you know what that title refers to. I won't spoil it for everyone who hasn't had a chance to listen yet. All right, so let's start off with some comics news. Just one little tidbit this week. IDW put out a teaser image for the Transformers Beast Wars comic coming very soon. I believe it's coming next month. And we have the awesome art from Josh Burcham. And this little teaser image shows, I believe it's the Tripredacus Council. And then you see Beast Wars Megatron in the shadows there. So looking forward to this. Really looking forward to this reimagining of Beast Wars. Josh Burcham on art is awesome. It's great to see him getting full art duties on a book. And written by Eric Burnham, who also wrote the Ghostbusters Transformers crossover. And I think doesn't he also do the regular Ghostbusters comics?
Yeah, he's the regular Ghostbusters writer. I am looking forward to this so much. I think it's going to be great.
Yep. Daryl, probably less so, but Jeremy and I are on board.
He'll be on paternity leave when this comes out.
I mean, I can skip alt mode.
Daryl, no matter what you think about this, you'll hate Transformers versus G.I. Joe more. So
That's true. That's true. But yeah, no, I mean, it'll be good to see Josh's art. And I mean, hopefully there's some G1 bots in here. That's all I can say.
All right, well, that's all the comics news, so we will move on to our comic review. This week, we are reviewing Transformers Escape #1. So this is the new Transformers miniseries that is a companion to the main Transformers comic where the Autobot-Decepticon war is starting to heat up. And this series is focusing on some of the bots trying to escape the planet as the war engulfs everything. So this is written by Brian Ruckley, art by Beth McGuire-Smith, colors by Priscilla Tramontano, letters and design by Jake M. Wood, editor David Marriott, assistant editor Riley Farmer, and supervising editor Tom Waltz. We got a lot of covers this week, so there were 4, I guess, regular covers, cover A and cover B. Cover A, Hound and Wheeljack by Beth McGuire-Smith. Cover B is the Arcs of Cybertron, that they're leaving Cybertron, and that's by Winston Chan, a friend of the show and listener, Winston Chan. Hi, Winston. Retailer Incentive A is Wheeljack, as rendered by Sarah Peter Durocher. And then Retailer Incentive cover B is a really cool movie poster design of the miniseries by Alex Milne with colors by Josh Burcham. Or not Josh Burcham, Josh Perez. Sorry, Josh. Had Josh Burcham on the brain. Then we had a bunch of retailer exclusive covers. So there's a Black Flag, KRS Comics. They had 2 covers. The first cover was a Shockwave, a very kind of super detailed Shockwave by Raymond Bernandez and colors by Sebastian Cheng. And then their cover B was some super deformed chibi Cybertronians. That's by Albert Morales and Sebastian Cheng, colors by Sebastian Cheng again. And then a third retail exclusive cover. This is from Wicked Gator Comics, Jolzar Collectibles, and Yellow Snow Comics. Ew, Yellow Snow. Ew, okay. And that's it's the Insecticons art of those they figure prominently in this issue, and that is art by John Jiang. So, Daryl, you've got a plethora of covers to choose from, but I have a feeling I know which one you're going to pick. So, which cover are you picking?
Do you? There are some really great covers here. Yeah, I have to say the one that's the Shockwave one with all the tech, the tech specs on it. Every time I look at this one, I feel as though it's like the chapter page of a book. So when I look at it, I'm like, oh, why is the chapter page on the front cover? And then you look at it, and yeah, it's a tech spec readout. I just think that's a really weird. The image of Shockwave is great, but having the tech spec kind of readout on there, it's a really odd choice to put on the cover of a comic. Some of these other ones are really great. I like the chibi one. That's really kind of fun. And then we've seen this other guy, Yang. This guy, we've seen his art before on some other stuff, some really kind of hyper realized G1 styled bots, and but I think he kind of really shines with these Insecticons. Those look really great. But I bought Winston's cover, and I'm really happy that I got that one. It looks really great. But Alex Milne's cover is really fucking awesome. It's really good. That's not the one you thought of, though, really? Right? That's not the one you thought I was going to pick?
No, yeah, that wasn't the one. I of course, I never imagined you would pick Alex Milne's cover, right?
Right. I gotta say, Sarah Peter Durocher's cover is just like, it's just awesome, and Winston's cover is fantastic too. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it. So yeah, there are some really great covers that are available for this, but being as though Alex is an RIB cover, it was going to be hard to get, and I was not able to get it. So hopefully I can find it at a convention or something in the future or some other way. But yeah, there's some great covers here. All
right, Jeremy, which one are you picking?
I also think that there are a bunch of great covers. All four of the main covers I think look great. I'm not really into any of the retailer exclusives just personally, but I think I would pick Sarah, her cover. I love the painted look and just everything kind of in shadow inside Wheeljack's face. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm going to side with Daryl and pick the Alex Milne and Josh Perez cover. I like the way it's composed. I mean, of course, Alex Milne's art is great, but just the way it's composed, like it reminds me like a Star Wars movie poster. And I just really like how the image is drawn there and all the characters are rendered. And yeah, it's a cool image. But yeah, you can't go wrong with any of these covers. All these covers are great. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get variant covers anymore unless I buy them online, because my shop doesn't get enough to get the retailer incentive covers. But it's cool. All right, well, let's get into the story of Transformers Escape Part 1. 90 kilocycles ago, the Aovan biosphere on the third moon of the gas giant planet Nakanda was home to 300 million sentient beings and millions of other organic species. Until the Thrall came, burning everything in their path. The biosphere was destroyed, but a remnant survived and thrived, rescued and relocated to Cybertron. Now the last surviving Aovans are in danger again. When the winged moon tether was destroyed and crashed to the surface of Cybertron, the Aovan biosphere refuge was caught directly in its path. Hound, member of the Cybertronian security forces and chief liaison to the Aovan citizens, has responded to an Aovan distress call and come to ensure the safety of his friends. The damage is severe, and he can't find any of the Aovans amongst the debris. Finally, he finds a few Aovan humanoids hiding in the wreckage, but Hound doesn't understand why the Aovans are hiding. One of them begs Hound to be quiet so he doesn't expose them to the monsters hunting them. Confused, Hound turns just in time to see the Insecticon Shrapnel as he's about to attack. Elsewhere in the main Iacon medical facility, Hoist is tending to Wheeljack's wounds after he was assaulted by Decepticons Runabout and Runamuck just after landing in his escape shuttle from the Winged Moon. Wheeljack is thoroughly dismayed at how the situation on Cybertron has deteriorated and how bold the Decepticons have become after the coup. Before Hoist can continue fixing Wheeljack's wounds, they hear a disturbance at the medical facility's entrance. Ratchet and Flatline are confronting a mob of Decepticons led by Gut Cruncher. Ratchet tells them these savages will not come into a facility where wounded bots are being cared for. Gut Cruncher doesn't care. He has orders to find any troublemaking Autobots wherever they are. Ratchet doesn't back down and again calls Gut Cruncher and his thugs savages. That's enough for Gut Cruncher to stop being polite, and he knocks Ratchet to the ground, ready to overrun the medical bots and storm for the facility. But Hoist has called for backup in the form of several medical drones equipped with lasers, cutters, burners, and drillers. All medical instruments that can be turned into effective weapons in a pinch. Hoist convinces Gut Cruncher it's not worth the effort, and the Decepticons leave, promising that they'll be back in force. Back at the Aovan Biodome, Hound's circuits are being overloaded by Shrapnel's electrical attack. Shrapnel is annoyed that this security bot has interrupted his Aovan organic feast. Luckily for Hound, Nautica and her bodyguard Road Rage have also come to check on the Aovans. Road Rage delivers a knee to the underbelly of Shrapnel's stag beetle form, knocking him off Hound. But then Road Rage is ambushed from behind by Kickback in robot mode, who sinks his teeth into her back. Road Rage fires her blaster to dislodge Kickback, but Bombshell is close behind and slams her to the ground, disarming her. While Road Rage is knocked prone, Nautica grabs for her bodyguard's gun while yelling for Hound to help. Hound tackles Bombshell, but that leaves his back exposed for Shrapnel to grab him from behind. Nautica is busy firing several shots and missing at Kickback as he advances on her. Just as things look very bad for Hound, caught between Bombshell and Shrapnel, Road Rage recovers and comes back to the fight. She transforms to her car mode, revs up, and rams right through Hound and his 2 Insecticon attackers. They all go flying as she transforms back to robot mode, ready for more. This is enough trouble for the Insecticons. Clearly, they are not going to be able to finish their organic meal with these troublesome bots interfering. So they retreat, promising they'll be back to feed again. Hound thanks Road Rage and Nautica for their help, and they're all confused as to why the Insecticons are even here on Cybertron. But with the danger past, Pratine, the Aovan leader, has emerged from hiding to greet his Cybertronian friends. Hound is relieved that his Aovan friend is safe, but sadly, after the destruction of their world, the Aovans no longer teach the concept of safety to their children. Hound promises that he will try to make sure the Aovans don't suffer anymore for the mistakes of his fellow Cybertronians. As the Insecticons flee on the outskirts of Iacon, they relish the thought of feeding on more organic matter. It's just as satisfying as living sparks, the only thing that can curb their unending hunger. Bombshell tells them that they will soon have all they will need to soothe their hunger with the coming war, chaos, and death. But they need more than just the 3 of them to harvest Cybertron. They need their numbers to be much, much more, and he knows exactly how to do that. In Iacon, Hound and Nautica come to Optimus Prime to ask for help in securing the safety of the Aovans and all organic life that has asylum on Cybertron. Optimus Prime agrees that the innocent non-Cybertronian life must be protected. He knows the Decepticons have no reservations crushing all organic life under their boots, so it falls to the Autobots to ensure their safety. Prime tells Hound to organize an evacuation from Iacon and guarantees any resources and personnel he needs. Later, Wheeljack and Hoist leave the medical facility and walk the streets of Iacon at night. In the sky, Wheeljack sees what looks like a shooting star, but he knows it is something else. The Titans might be falling out of their orbit and crashing to Cybertron, thanks to the Rise, or the Decepticons. With all the trouble on Cybertron, Hoist thinks they should try to get as many bots off the planet as possible to avoid the coming war. But there are no more big starships left. Wheeljack responds that actually there are 4 ships left, ARC ships from the time of the Cybertronian expansion. They've been mostly stripped for parts, but their hulls are intact. With a little work, they could be made space-worthy again. But the problem is where those ships are currently stored, in Darkmount. So if they want to rebuild the ARCs, they'll need to go through Straxus. At the Aovan Biodome Refuge, Nautica and Hound tell the Aovans their evacuation protocol. This organized migration is necessary, but could be a significant risk. Hound tries to assure Pratine that they will do everything they can to safeguard the Aovan evacuation. As Hound accompanies Pratine back to the Aovan archives, he hears a steady beeping sound, like an alarm. Hound asks what it is. Pratine answers that one of the Cybertronians that oversaw the rescue of the Aovans from their devastated homeworld gave them a beacon after they were relocated to Cybertron. This great warrior told them that if they ever needed him again, he would answer the call. Hound is familiar with the bot that led the Aovan rescue, but he also knows that bot is no longer online. He chose to become immersant and merge his consciousness with the planet Cybertron itself. He can no longer answer that beacon or anything else. Pratine realizes this, but the Aovan children don't understand, and they activated the beacon anyway. But Hound is wrong. It seems that this bot's duty and dedication to the Aovans transcends even the immersant state. Deep below in the caverns of Cybertron, the long-dormant Atlas comes back online. To be continued. So I really liked this first issue of Transformers Escape. I liked the setup. I liked the Insecticons coming to feed on organic life. That the Insecticons are always good, creepy monster villains, I guess. I liked having the Aoven's perspective on how the Cybertronians live, like the whole speech that the leader gives about how they're both Cybertronians are both unchanging and constantly changing. So they, they're reckless because they feel like they have basically all the time in the universe to do whatever. And any mistakes they make will not affect them because they basically live forever. It's a really interesting way that they phrased how the Cybertronians' relationship to much more finite organic life. I really like that little part of the story. And it was, it had a lot of action too, with the Insecticon fight and everything. I liked, we're getting the introduction of Straxus. That was a surprise as a character here. The Atlas, bringing Atlas in as well. It's all the, these are some, I think some pretty deep cuts in the lore that Brian Ruckley is bringing in to the story. And I appreciate that. But it also looks like it's going to be, there's going to be some conflict. So it's going to be, I hope it's going to be exciting and where they're going with this, the whole storyline and bringing the arcs into it and everything. So I was pretty happy with this. I think Beth McGuire Smith's art is pretty good. I like her pairing with Priscilla Tramontano on colors. Priscilla, of course, is a longtime colorist on Transformers books. And it's just a well done issue overall. I like the medical facility part where Decepticons are coming, trying to, they're not quite to the point where they're just blasting things everywhere, but they're getting there. So yeah, good solid issue. Daryl, what did you think?
I didn't mind the story. It was a good story. I liked the Insecticons as being like the main kind of bad guys in this one. It did introduce the Decepticons as kind of these bots in control. Kind of, they're the Autobots are on the run, or not really, or they're just they're being hunted essentially. Yeah, these Decepticons are just kind of out there looking for them to take them out. I did like the use of all these background characters, mostly Road Rage and what was it? There was the other one too, and I forget his name. We mentioned him.
Nautica?
Gut Cruncher. Gut Cruncher.
Oh, Gut Cruncher.
Yeah, so he, we don't really see an awful lot of Gut Cruncher ever, so another background character there. Yeah, so that was pretty good, and the introduction of the organic race and stuff like that was cool. I was confused as to whether we were on Cybertron or we were off on another planet or not, because it did seem like we were on this other distant world. That was through the writing. It was confusing to me whether we were actually on Cybertron. So yeah, no, I liked the story and how it progressed through. Now the fact that they introduced Straxus, that was pretty cool. I expect to see a whole lot more of him. There was a small mention of the other shuttles, which if you looked at Winston Chan's cover, you obviously get the idea that there's a whole like this small little armada of shuttles that they're going to be going after, and the story of Atlas that obviously is going to play a big role in this series. I'm interested to know what this signal is that just you can send off a signal and it's going to bring a character back to life. Is this some kind of deep stasis that he's in? Because is he dead? Is he supposed to be dead? Like, what's the definition of this like immersive state?
They haven't really defined that really well. I mean, in the book, it just mentions his consciousness is merged with Cybertron. They've mentioned this before in the regular series. Like it's an offhand mention that I guess when some bots get older, they just decide they don't want to, I guess, live consciously anymore, and they merge themselves with the planet. And
yeah, if you remember that arc where they were like fighting inside that old Titan, like the colors and everything had blended in with the ground, and like it had become fully a part of the planet.
Right.
Yeah, so it's basically like, for all intents and purposes, they're quote unquote dead, but not really dead, but I guess like moved on to another plane of existence or something. But
right.
But I guess the idea is that the distress beacon that the Aeovans have is just a normal like distress beacon, and the fact that it reached Diatlas is just that Diatlas was still so dedicated to the people he had saved before, I guess, that it was enough.
I had the impression that it was something specific for Diatlas that he gave them. Like,
that's
it was him directly.
Right. So however he fashioned that beacon to tune into directly to his brain or something, that brought him out of his emergent state.
The only other comment I would make is about the art, and specifically about Diatlas. I mean, he's part of this cave at the point that this beacon hits him, or is shown hitting him, and he just emerges from this cave wall and seems to be in tip-top condition, right? Whether or not his brain is functioning normally, that's yet to be seen, but his body seems like it's in perfect working order. It's even shiny, you know? I have a bit of a problem with that. You'd think he'd be kind of rusty, kind of damaged, you know? There'd be breaks and, you know, maybe even parts have broken off of him and stuff like that, just from being...
Those wings would have been broken off.
Kind of wrecked, maybe, but he seems like he just rolled off the assembly line here. And, you know, so... the art throughout the whole book kind of just, it looked a little rough. I get that it's, you know, it's a different style. It's definitely digital, right? And it looks okay. It looks decent, but you can see that there's, you know, it's not as clean as some of the other, you know, art that we've seen before, but it's, I'm not going to say it's bad, because it's not bad. It definitely works. It's just, it looks like there's some of the lines could be cleaner, I think, if I'm going to be nitpicky on the art. There's some, it looks rough, I guess. That's my comment on the art. But all in all, I think it looks decent. But yeah, I'm interested in the story, on where it's going. I'm interested in what's happening with the planet and the organics. I really wish that somehow Optimus would update his body. Like, I hate this body that he's in. Somehow find a way that he gets damaged and needs to be repaired. Something happened to Optimus, please, that we can fix his body here. Because this body is played out. So, yeah. But anyway, that's my take on it.
All right. Jeremy, what do you think?
I really enjoyed this book too. I thought it was a great setup, and I love how things are tying together now and things are happening. Coming from Galaxies 12, we know about the Insecticons, why they're here. You know, so we're getting kind of hints from that. We know from the main story, Wheeljack's thing, and just things are they're coming together, and I'm really liking that. And you know, I'm expecting the main story will continue like Optimus's story, and then this is going to be more Wheeljack and the escape from Cybertron. I was really surprised by Straxus. I'm sure there are a lot of people, especially like Jimmers, that are extremely excited that Straxus is in this book. I thought the design was really cool. I instantly recognizable as Straxus, but also a little bit different than what we've seen before, and I like that design. The Diatlas stuff, I'm wondering if he's going to come back kind of in a zombie state at first. I mean, you're kind of I don't know. We get no real hints. He just kind of grunts as he's freeing himself. But it's an interesting choice to have him, in the book. He's not someone we've seen a lot of. Like, I guess he got a little bit in Lost Light, but I don't know. It's a Japanese character that not a lot of people will have seen. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I think it's a great setup, and I like the place that all the books are in right now, where things are finally happening, or past all the years and years of setup. Let's get some action, get some stuff happening. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going.
Yeah, it's funny because Diatlas did figure prominently in, I think it was Transformers Monstrosity. So that was the second of the 3 digital stories that were put out.
And then he was tied with Drift.
Yeah, he led like a lot of the bots. He was a neutral who led a lot of bots off of Cybertron when the Autobot Decepticon war was heating up, and
right.
And led that he's formed that Circle of Light group that Drift found much later. But yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a similar role he has here, where he's basically safeguarding an alien population. I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's the idea of him leading a group off of Cybertron to escape the war. Seems like he's going to be doing a similar thing here. So it's interesting how it's a different continuity, but they're bringing this character back to fill in a similar role. All right, well, that is Transformers Escape Part 1, Issue 1. And now we will move on to Transforming Pop Culture.
Only run really quick thing that we've got. There's a show on Netflix right now called The History of Swear Words. And if you're making your way through there's a quick little Transformers the movie mention in one of the episodes. You might blink and miss it because it's really short. They do mention that in Transformers the movie, there is a swear word that is said. And it's quite odd for that to be said in a cartoon, especially from 1986. But it was done to get past the G rating that it was going to get and get that PG-13 that they really wanted. So, yeah. So take a look at that. I believe it's the Damn episode. They didn't get into the shit episode, but they're into the damn episode. There was 2 options for them, but yeah, no, it's a fun little comedy series. Nicolas Cage is the host, and he really Nicolas Cages it up quite a lot right at the. So yeah, it's just fun. It's got a whole bunch of comedians in it. They talk about all the swear words that are being discussed, and then there's actually like professors and people with doctorates in etymology and stuff, and it's really interesting to hear the actual history of where these words came from, because it's not just a comedy show. There is some some education component to it.
So you're watching this with your daughter, right?
Of course. Yeah, but that's it for pop culture.
All right, and we will finish up the show with convention news.
All right. One convention to talk about, and that is IACON Online. It's coming up January 30th and 31st, and they have a ton of announcements for guests and some panels and stuff. So I'm going to just run through. I've kind of sorted these into different categories like TV, comics, etc. We're going to have a couple people from IACON Online on next week to kind of go more in depth, or right before the is it next week or is it the week after?
No, it's the week after.
Week after next. Yeah. Okay. So it'll be right before their convention, but this is shaping up to have a lot of really cool stuff. Off the top, I didn't put the link here in the show notes, but they also have a ton of virtual artist alley people. So if you're wanting to get some commissions and some work from both fan artists and I believe some of the professional artists are going to have offering. So check out their website at icononline.wordpress.com or their Twitter account, which is just Icon Online. There's information there. But in terms of guests, first we'll start with TV. Lindsay Rousseau, who was Alita 1 in the Netflix series, is going to be there. They're having a Spotlight Alita 1 panel, and she's going to be on that. And all of these guest links, follow the links. They have a link to a Google form for each person that will let you submit questions. So we have links to the Twitter announcement for each one that has those links. Also, from TV, Jason Marnosha, who is Megatron in the Netflix series, and Frank Todaro, who is Starscream from the Netflix series. They're all going to be there. And then David Sovolov, which you might know as Gorilla Grodd on The Flash. Nothing else. No.
Nothing else.
He is Shockwave on Transformers Prime. Very cool. And he's going to be there. He has special autograph.
Blitzwing in the Bumblebee movie.
Oh, well, yeah. Their tweet was like logical and stuff. I forgot about that. So yeah, Blitzwing too. He has autograph pricing, $50 for the first one, $40 additional, and that includes shipping worldwide. So if you want to get an autograph from him, you'll be able to. They'll have a link there. And then also from TV, May Cat, who is one of the writers on Cyberverse. I believe Yoshi talked to her a couple of years ago at TFCon LA. It'll be interesting to hear what she's got to say, and hopefully maybe we'll find out some more about the Cyberverse stuff that is yet to come. There is a Transformers the movie, the 1986 one, obviously. There's going to be a whole panel, and this is hosted by Joe Troutman, who he has one of the larger Facebook groups. I can't remember the exact name of it now, but it's one of the it's a group that has like both creators and fans in it. And in this panel, they're going to have John Machida Jr., who is Blur in G1, Vince DiCola, Flint Dilley, and Greg Berger, him Grimlock. This is looking like it'll be a fun panel. I'm sure Joe's not going to talk a lot because I think all these people are going to, they all like to talk. So I'm looking forward to that. And also Vince DiCola, we recently reported the news that he had caught COVID. So hopefully he's doing much better now. On the music side, they are going to have the Cybertronic Spree. So that is really cool. They're going to have a panel and interview. They also are going to have merch in the virtual artist alley. And then Stan Bush is going to have an interview. Mike Seibert is going to be interviewing him. And he's very excited about this. So looking forward to hearing. Stan Bush has some new, he has a new album out, and he had this new song that went with some of the Netflix anime stuff. It very Stan Bush sounding. It's pretty cool. And then on the comic side, we have David Mariette, who is editor for IDW. He's written on Transformers versus Terminator. We have Thomas Deere, who's colorist and artist. Andrew Griffith, who is no stranger to our show. Shane McCarthy, who haven't really heard a lot from recently. He did Small Hill Megatron. Didn't he do that Drift?
Spotlight Drift.
But didn't he do that other? What was it?
The Drift miniseries. Oh yeah, the Empire of Stone, Drift Empire of Stone.
Yeah, so he's done a lot. Anna Malkova, who's one of the newer artists, who was a fan artist and now she's professional, and Livio Remondelli, who I'm sure will be also talking about his Kill Lock book. So lots of guests. This is shaping up to be one of the more exciting conventions I've seen, like in this virtual state. And obviously this will probably be one of the highlights of January 2021, the way the month is going so far. Looking forward to this. And yeah, in a couple of weeks, we'll have Mike Seibert and Apollo from the convention on our show here to talk about it. So looking forward to that.
All right. A lot of convention news for
yeah. Hey, I'm happy to have lots of convention news, especially a convention that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Of course, at the end, we always give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrions. So thank you again to John 4X Levengood and Dinobot Maximize. You guys are really help keep the show going. We really appreciate it. And we really thank you for your support. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Now, how do we do?
That feels great.
Sure, I screwed it up.
Mike will fix it in post.
Are you serious?